I didn't think it was a foul. It definitely wasn't offside. And the directory that we were told at the start of the season that it had to be clear and obvious. And I think it was the clearest foul that I've seen. And I thought the referee had a good game, but I thought in that last minute that the big decision, I felt the big decision went against us, and that's all we can say really. I mean, we feel disappointed with that.
We'll start with questions. Michelle, then Ian.
Phil, can you just talk about the frustration of not being able to score? And Joseph, it's 7 games, or I guess 6 he hasn't played, but
he needs to play better. He needs to play better. It's the first time today we played with 2 strikers. Got to say, I don't think in the first half, don't think either had a shot at goal. Did we get him the service? Probably not. It was Leo's first game back. He got through 60 good minutes. But we need more from Joseph. That's without a shadow of a doubt. And I think when Schneider came on, I think what we've got in the team, we've got some players that are comfortable, and from now on those players won't be comfortable anymore because they're not playing to the levels that I expect. And we've got players in return. We've got players that have not had opportunities that I think now deserve an opportunity. So in 2 weeks' time, I think we'll see that.
Ian?
Thank you, Rafa. Hey, Phil. Another one of those games where you have a lot of the possession, but it doesn't translate to the chances. Yeah. How do you keep working on creating those opportunities to have chances on goal? You mentioned, I think, when Joseph came off, it was only 3 to that point. How do you work on making that possession work for?
Well, I think a little bit of quality in the final third. I think we put too many in the first half. I felt we were too rushed to get the ball into the box. We were crossing from deeper areas where, the data tells you that the percentage of scoring from those areas is slim. We needed to get to sort of like those corner box areas like we did in the second half where the penalty came from, where Harvey hits it across from there. There's a one before that where we hit a diagonal. Harvey smashes it across. Negri has smashed a few balls across from good areas. I thought Schneider had a couple of opportunities. And I feel as if we're getting into some really good positions. Now it's about the quality, the final pass, the composure, and we've played 7 games and our centre forwards haven't scored a goal apart from Schneider. So that's a concern.
Daniel.
Hey, Coach. Unfortunately, 5 straight losses, but we went through a period like this last year. We had 6 straight losses, and we were able to turn it around when Pozuelo came. There's rumors that we have a player coming in to play the 5 position to replace Gregory. Could we find some similar, I guess, kind of something to the team, or where this 5 comes in?
I think we're working really hard at strengthening the team. I think over the next 24 to 48 hours, I think. Hopefully we're going to have some good news there. We're definitely lacking some competitive edge in centre midfield. I thought Motta today was outstanding. I thought he was along with Drake, was our best player. I did think he had an outstanding game in the last game as well. So he's really stepping up. I feel as if we're so close, but yet so far. That's how it feels. I feel as if we're close to going on a winning run. We're close to being that team that scores 3 or 4 goals, but we're being punished. Today, we could have come away with a point at Cincinnati. I thought we played really well, could have come away with a point, but we're not getting that. But you earn your own luck. We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. I've got to take full responsibility for this losing run. Like you say, at the start of last season, we went on a similar run, and then we did turn it around, and we have to turn it around now, and we have to turn it around quick. The worst thing for us is to wait two weeks for a game now. That's not nice. You want to get back on, as we say in England, back on the saddle as soon as possible and put things right.
And we'll do a last question, Jose, on the call.
Thank you, Rafa. Phil, you talked about the first half. Who's responsible for that type of performance in the first half when you're coming off a 4-game losing streak and, maybe people can expect a sense of urgency from the team and you come out flat like that? Who takes responsibility for that start of the game?
Well, I mean, the buck stops with me, Jose. I think the accountability bit is that this is my team and they didn't start the game how we wanted. They didn't start the game how we wanted it to. We wanted to be a fast start. We wanted to be aggressive. We wanted to press. And I just felt we actually probably for the first 5 or 6 minutes we did, and then they created a chance, and it just spread some nervousness into the team. And then after that, we got really nervous and could have conceded 2 or 3 goals. We were really lucky to go in at half time at 1-0. And you've seen these games where the two halves are never the same. And I said to them at half time, we're the luckiest team in the MLS at this moment in time. Now let's make them pay for them not being ruthless enough. And in the second half, we huffed and we puffed. But we just didn't find that little bit of quality in the final third until the last kick of the game, when we did, and we deserved a penalty. And unfortunately, it's not going our way at this moment in time. But going back to what you said at the start, it starts with the manager. So I take full responsibility for that. And you know, we have a great group of players and staff, and togetherness and the spirit is one of the key things that we've built here, and we must be reign. And we've had to suffer some adversity. The adversity of losing Gregory, losing Leo in the first 6 games of the season. They were big losses for us. But now it's time to get back to winning ways. We've got a 3-game week coming up: Houston, US Open Cup, and then Columbus away. 2 away games where we have to pick up points. That's the non-negotiable.
Thank you, Coach. Okay, now we're joined by goalkeeper Drake Callender. We'll start with questions first with Michelle Kaufman.
Drake, obviously, 7 saves, 8, whatever it was, and a sensational game Phil was just talking about. Can you just talk in general, how does it feel to have such a big game, but be on a 5-game losing streak? Just what's your mentality right now, and also what's the mentality of the team right now? What's the mood in the locker room?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a little frustrating because you work so hard, and you kind of leave everything on the field and you don't get the result. And that's the reality of being a pro athlete, is that in these games, you go into the game with a good mentality and you may not know what's going to happen. But for our team and for me as well, I feel that, we prepare properly, we recover properly, and we get to game day and we work our asses off. And sometimes, that's just how like the game goes. But I think our team is, of course, it's not easy to lose 5 games, but we just have to be grounded in the process of showing up the next day and giving it our all, because we can't dwell on moments like this, and we have to have a short memory and just move on to like the next one. And it's difficult to do because we feel it, day in, day out. We work really, really hard to get to game day, and to come away without a win or any points at home is tough, and that's where the mentality has to be strong and the culture has to be strong, because if it's not, then we're just gonna stay where we're at. So we have to take accountability, all of us, and we have to keep moving forward.
We're gonna go to Ian, then Franco.
Thanks, Rafa. Hey, Drake, you're always a pretty positive guy. I think that tonight you sort of saw a little bit of the frustration boiling. Guys like DeAndre, of all people, really started to get frustrated. Where do you talk to him, sit him down, or just across the team, sort of keep that positive attitude in the face of adversity? You've been here before. You wound up making the playoffs after something like this last year. So how do you talk to the guys and continue to keep that positive attitude with 2 weeks off now?
Yeah. So I think emotion is natural. I think, as a pro athlete, like, you get very emotional in these games. Frustration's natural. So all these things, I think, are a product of the experiences we have on the field. And whether that frustration is coming from what we can't control or what we can control, I think the focus has to be on what we can't control. It's easy to get frustrated, something that you have no power over, And so I think that's something that I can amplify throughout our locker room, is focusing on what we can control in order to give us an advantage going forward.
We're gonna go to Franco here.
Drake, if we look at this game and the 4 games before it, losses for different reasons. You could analyze each one and come up with different reasons for each game. Each game's different, but bigger picture, taking a step back and looking at the 5-game losing streak in general, what's your analysis of it? What are you guys not doing well enough to get some points?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you need goals to win games, and so that is a whole team effort. It's not just the strikers. It's not just the midfielders. It's the entire team. And it's easy to point fingers, and that's the last thing you want to have in a locker room is you didn't do this or you didn't do that. It's a team effort. And every attacking play starts with the back line. It's from the goalkeeper onward. And same with defense. It starts with the 9 and down. And so that is a whole team effort. And I know the quality we have in our locker room. There's a lot of players in our locker room that are really, really good. I experience it in training every day. I mean, as much as I'm able to perform out here, the reason why I'm so good is because I have guys who are really good in training, pushing me to be my best.
Hi, Drake. Talking about the locker room, you guys have different personalities, different standards, different costumes. How do you take that locker room after 5 defeats in a row? And do you think that 2 weeks that you have off now will help you guys to get better?
Yeah, I think having a diverse locker room is an advantage because everyone can bring something different to the table. Guys lead in different ways. Guys are in different parts of their careers. Some players have experienced moments in seasons like this before. So I think it's easy to hide from these things. And so I think with the experience that we have in our locker room and the different identities and like the different personalities, I think that we'll get through this just fine.
We're going to go to Xavier, and then last question at the back.
Drake, after 5 defeats in a row, tough one at home, in that locker room, who is the leader or who are the leaders that talk and keep this team together and try to keep the confidence?
I mean, I think everyone leads in a different way. Some lead by example, some lead through their voice. DeAndre has had a really strong voice in our locker room. And I think he has helped us get a good perspective of where we're at and what we need to do and how we need to perform, being accountable to each other. And I think that's extremely grateful to have that kind of experience from him to share with us. And so that goes into other players as well. You know, it's not just DeAndre having a voice. I mean, I think a lot of players have a voice in our locker room, and it's easy to not say something. You know, it's easy just to hold it in. And so whenever guys have something to say, I think it's heard by everyone. You know, and it's a difficult way to lead because you know you're kind of putting yourself out there. But I think the diverse players that we have in our locker room, maybe some are more vocal, some aren't more vocal, and I think that's fine, just as long as everyone's on the same page moving forward.
Last question. Back.
Drake, losing streak aside, tonight's performance by you was, you know, the latest in, you know, a long line of developing into one of the premier goalies in this league. What are your overall thoughts on, you know, how you've developed as a player up to this point?
Yeah. I mean, you look at my performances, and you know, I can't say I've had a perfect performance this season, but you know, I always try and approach each game with the same mindset, with the confidence that I have from all the reps I do in training. And I think as a goalkeeper, it can be tough because you can do everything in your power to try and win the game, and sometimes you don't get the result. So I think it's just understanding that in a season like this, it's really a marathon, and my role on the team is to be a leader, to do everything I can to keep the ball out of the back of the net. And I think if I stick to my core values of work ethic, attitude, having good energy, then I think that will get shown on the field. And so that's something that I try and approach each game with, is just those core values and allowing myself to be present and in the moment when it comes game time, so that I only have to be where the game is on. I don't need to be anywhere else.
Thank you, Drake, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys. You feel good? Yeah, I feel